with creating content for people that follow you versus creating content that you like to watch, there's obviously your followers that are like, what's the update on the yard? Or can we see this particular product or this particular tool? Like, but then you've got your need or want of wanting to create content that is about what you like watching and you like making and talking about. How do you balance that?
Yeah, I don't know. It's difficult. It's just sort of like I always feel like I've got a backlog of stuff to talk about and whatever. And so I will have in my notes and kind of start to plan it out, and then I'll probably have something I'm going to do, but like, nah, I can skip that this time because I've got such a backlog. So, yeah, I don't know. And it sort of like mixes in with branded content and things as well, where you've sort of got to consider where that's going to fit in everything. And, I guess I do try to vary what I'm doing a bit. So I'll try not to post to exactly the same sort of videos in a row.
Sure.
So I like to mix it up, do different things in how I'm posting it, and also try to consider if I've got a project coming up, that might be sponsored or whatever. To balance it all out.
Yeah.
I don't probably overthink it too much, but I sort of had a bit of a schedule where I will like to post. I probably, to be honest, actually like to post a little bit less. And go for more of a quality over quantity. Not that I think the videos I post are not good, but sometimes, like, I always feel like what I've posted is decent, but sometimes it is definitely a bit more of a feed filler than other things.
Sure.
But I may have like just been scrolling, found a sound, or I could make a video out of that, and I have it sitting in my drafts, and it's like deleting something from my drafts. I'm like, no, I need to use it because I'd spent that time making it.
Yeah.
Whereas if I could probably let things go a little bit more and be like, look, that's just a feed filler.
Sure.
Don't oversaturate. Because I think there's probably a few people in my niche. There's one main guy in America I can think of where he probably posts like 2 or 3 videos a week.
Yeah.
But everyone, I hear the voice, I hear the little intro, I'm like, I'm watching this video.
Yeah.
A bit more, you sort of look forward to someone posting in a way.
Totally. And so with that then, with, I suppose, creating the content that you do create, do you have, over the course of a week, for example, you said you post on Sundays for YouTube. Do you have like your schedule of when you're posting on Instagram, TikTok and YouTube? Do you have something that you stick to every week?
Pretty much, yeah, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night. Winter, I will sometimes post on a Thursday night, but I also have footy, so I'm getting dinner ready for the family, getting out the house, and so it's just always not that convenient. So if I've got a backlog and there's something decent that I can post on a Thursday night, but I do generally find it's not a super high engagement night of the week for whatever reason. Yeah. Generally skip Fridays. Sometimes in growing season, when I have the most content, I will post kind of Friday afternoon more than night. But I will generally put something over there that don't think is going to be as good.
Sure.
Saturday morning's always a good one for me to post a reel. Like, I generally find they're decent, especially because my audience is a lot of, young dads, like to that 25 to 40 kind of range. Yeah. So they're up, doing a bottle and on their phone or whatever. Yeah. So Saturday mornings and then Sunday nights. I typically find Sunday night I can pretty much post anything and it'll do above average well. So I will try and save something for Sunday night. So if you see me post on something on Sunday night, you'll know I think it's good.
Okay, good to know.
That's what I'll save it for. But yeah, so a bit of structure around it sort of in that time once, depending how the night's going at home with the boys and putting them to bed. Around, it might be a later time, but generally night sometime is what I aim for. Okay. Experimented with a few different things earlier on, but nights just work well. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. And you mentioned just before around branded partnerships and deals. Do you remember your first one?
I remember the first thing that I got. Yeah. That I got sent.
What was that?
Which was a whippersnipper. That I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And that didn't last, that sort of partnership, because I every couple of months, few months, would get an email, hey mate, like, how you going? Have you got any content for me? And so I'd go back and get all these links from videos that I'd posted and tagged this brand and stuff. Yep, cool. And I'd never got reshared on their page or anything. And then it's just kind of, hey, have you got any more content for me? yeah, like I've been tagging you on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like it's all there, but like here's some more links. And I probably did that a couple of times, maybe a few times. And it was like, nah, there's no respect here. Because I think the line trimmer maybe was $250, $300 or something like that, which for me at the time was like, oh my God, like I've got something for free. This rocks.
Yeah.
But even I remember around that time, you know, 15-ish thousand followers, people were like, surely you're monetizing this now, you know, like surely you're getting something from this. And I'm like, oh, actually not really.
Yeah.
Like that lawn and garden space is quite behind in compared to like what I see Kate doing with like finance stuff and, you know, just brand, you know, being on social media and having a social media presence and doing it well. Some of them will have, you know, an account and they'll put a photo on their new product or whatever, but it's nothing.
Hey, just a quick one. If you are loving this episode, help us grow and reach more people by hitting the subscribe button and leaving a review.
So there are some that I've worked with that do have a bit more of a presence. There's some brands out there not in my space that do social media really well. Yeah. Typically, to speak for a whole industry, it doesn't. So there's not that, not as much reaching out and just activity, I guess, in that kind of marketing space. But definitely, you know, coming out of winter now, I've been getting quite a few inquiries and stuff come through. So, which is good to sort of be a bit of a part-time job and to be able to contribute to the house and everything. So
absolutely. And how do you deal with your brand partnerships? I spoke to a couple of TikTok creators yesterday whilst we're down here in Melbourne, and you know, they said when they first got their first brand partnership deal through, they were like, this is really cool. Like, and then they learned that like they weren't charging enough, or like there's all this, you know, vocab that exists in the world around, you know, partnerships and, you know, paying more for exclusivity and all of that. How did you navigate that?
Well, I was fortunate to have Kate again and just people, you know, that she knows and everything, and some of her brand deals that she'd sort of done. I sort of fumbled my way through it a bit early on, and definitely undercharging and all that sort of stuff, which I think frustrated me, especially early on. Like another story is a brand sent me some stuff and we had a bit of conversation around it, and, you know, about potentially like maybe looking at ambassadorships and all this stuff. And so then I'll just say it, like wore the stuff in heaps of videos. It was like 20 plus. And I was like, kind of like, hey, you know, I've been wearing this stuff heaps. I DMs like, oh, you're wearing these things, like, you know, what's happening there, kind of thing. Like people noticing, you know, like kind of let's talk. Do you want to talk? Yeah. And they sort of said about doing campaign stuff, you know, for like a spring campaign, summer campaign. Yeah. So like not necessarily a year-long contract, but maybe, you know, I was like, okay, yep, no worries, sounds good. And then it sort of came up to the next sort of season, and it was like, oh, hey, just reaching out to see what's happening. Oh, we did a big shoot. We've done it all sort of last week, the week before. Not sure if we really want to do that with you. We can send you some more stuff though. So it was like, okay, so you want me to be a billboard, you know, with this branding across here. And, you know, it was when you're getting views, it's, you know, especially something as prominent as clothing, you know, it's there all the time.
Of course.
So, yeah, that was like quite frustrating. Yeah. Because, and I've sort of, people feel very differently about brand deals and sponsorships, especially in my kind of industry of being, especially, you know, those kind of 40 plus males and things like that. Yeah. Not seeing it for how it is. But to kind of, for situations like that where you know that brand knows they're getting something from you and they're really trying to stooge you with it and give you the minimum, that's where I'm like very aware of it now, and I can see it. And even when I've seen guys that have had their videos reshared on certain platforms and stuff, and I'm like, I hope you got something for this, you know? Yeah. There's a certain time where you're happy to just get reshared or tagged or something, but once it gets to a certain point and you're putting in the time and effort to make videos, you know, so... But yeah, like definitely brand deals is something that I don't love that, negotiating and, you know, all that sort of stuff. Anytime there's a negotiation involved, Kate will do it in our lives. Got to sell or buy a car or whatever it is. So I've had a manager now for probably about 2 months. Sure. So he takes the cut. He deals with it all. I don't have to do all that emailing and admin stuff because I don't don't particularly enjoy sitting around doing a lot of that computer stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, he handles that, which is really good. And yeah, I think will suit me a bit more to just be able to let someone else deal with it and make the videos and use that energy over there instead of having to go back and forth. Like even another one was a brand come back to me and said, oh, like this, there's a typo in the captions over the top. And I was like, yep, cool, no worries, I'll change it. Yeah, can you just resend it? And they wanted me to like fully put it back into Dropbox and download it and send it. I'm like, it's one word. Like surely you can trust me to change one word. Oh, okay, yep, if you can just send a screenshot then. Oh, okay. Like those kind of things just annoying to me. Like I don't, some people just would do it.
Yeah.
It frustrates me.
No, I get it. There's a very backwards way a lot of clients do work with creators, and I think, it's something that we see quite a bit of in the agency is like, a lot of creators will be briefed with like a full brief dictating exactly what the brand wants to see, and it's like, actually it should be the other way around. You should pick creators based on what content you want them to create for you as opposed to briefing them what you want, because if a brand is briefing a creator, they should just be briefing a production house to create a TVC for them, right? Instead of actually giving the control to the creators because they're a creative entity within themselves. If someone asked you for one kind of controversial piece of advice about growing social media, what would it be?
Maybe to not be controversial.
Okay.
Unless that's your thing for some reason. But yeah, I don't know. To me, my enjoyment in it and building the following that I have has been in doing things a certain way that I enjoy.
Yeah.
So creating content I want to make, enjoying the editing process. Like I think I think it's a sort of a job that if it's a job, if you want to take it that way, if you want to try and monetize and all that sort of stuff, like you do still have to, I think, enjoy getting in front of the camera and whatever it is, whatever your niche may be.
Yeah.
So for me, like I've had a few times in my journey where I've been a bit like this, like just a bit over it.
Yeah.
A bit like, what's the point of this? Like, am I going to 20 years down the track be like, that was so worthwhile making, spending hundreds of hours making videos for social media. But that's just, ups and downs of life where sometimes you just get a bit more philosophical maybe or a bit more down or whatever it may be. So, yeah, I think when I'm thinking clearly and fine, I'm happy doing what I'm doing and enjoying it. And so, yeah, if someone came in and was like, all right, I've got 0 followers, but I want to make this a job and I'm going to do this and I'm going to outrage people or I'm going to do this crazy thing, whatever it is, I think you do have to have a bit of an eye for it.
Sure.
Maybe have a bit of a background.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a bit of a background in editing and using cameras or whatever. I had none. It was just a gradual progression for me and I've enjoyed the process. But yeah, I think you do, especially when sometimes it can dictate what you're doing and how you do it. For me, like I can go and mow for 40 minutes or I can record it and it takes 2 hours if I'm doing YouTube and moving both tripods around and stuff like that. And yeah, I think you do need to probably enjoy the process of it a little bit.
Absolutely. Now, if you could go back before you started social media or you had any kind of presence on any platform and tell yourself one thing that you wish you knew that you know now, what would that be?
Oh, it's a tough one. I think my natural progression through all of it has been, the way it's happened has been pretty good.
Sure.
I have had the right interactions and had the right things happen at different times and, being aware of I don't know if this is answering your question, but being quite self-aware about it and the way that you do things and whether people are liking certain things or not and whether... I don't know. I think sometimes you might see a video and be like, how does someone post that and think it looks good? That just actually looks bad, or you missed the drop of the music by 2 seconds or something. So you do probably have to be a bit aware of what you're doing and whether people are liking it and that sort of thing. In terms of something I wish I knew, probably not. I don't know. Maybe if you told me how much time it's going to take and everything before I started, I wouldn't have started. yeah, I mean, the way just like our life has gone and, you know, being a stay-at-home dad for the last year and a half, that sort of thing, was sort of naturally progressing with social media and how much I was doing it. Now I do have more time for it. And as the audience has grown and the monetization of it has grown, I'm able to sort of justify, even if I'm doing a project like related to my veggie garden. Did I have any sponsored posts? I had one. With Kennard's Hire. So just filling the soil into the veggie garden beds, which it took me a very long time to do that entire thing. It cost me a lot. So I don't even think I broke even by doing the brand deal. So it still cost money, but it still was like content, and it's all adding to bring the audience along and all that sort of things to where they might buy a hoodie and a lawn program this spring. And it's just fueling that whole, just bringing people in and showing them stuff, and then being able to do veggie garden content ongoing and stuff. So not necessarily going to every project have brand deals and make money on it, but it kind of all, I don't know, potentially evens itself out.
All comes out in the wash, right?
Yeah, I guess so. So
yeah, nice. I think with that, I feel like there's a lot around, you know, what you know now versus what you wish you knew. And I had this conversation with someone the other day around, you know, anyone that does something that, you know, is new or they've never done before, whether it's starting a business or starting to post content on a social media platform, you have to have some level of like delusion that it's going to be really easy and it's not going to be that hard, and like the whole like, how hard can it be? Because I think if you went into it knowing everything that you know now, you probably wouldn't have gone into it as quickly as you did, which I think is super interesting. And I also kind of want to get into very quickly around the idea of you being a stay-at-home dad. I love it. I think there's not enough dads owning their like role that they play in the family. Was that something that was always planned when you and Kate were together?
Nah, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. I had a couple of jobs that just didn't end that well. It could probably be 15-minute sidetrack, but I won't do that. But yeah, just essentially I had a situation. I was very unhappy and unsupported at my last school. Yeah. You know, mental health struggling and really just like, you know, didn't want to be there. Yeah. And so then we went on a trip and we were just on a hike and just chatting, and it just sort of, by the end of this 2-hour hike, we're sort of 97% decided for me to work out the rest of that year. Sure. Which is a very long time in the departure lounge.
Absolutely.
A very long time.
Yeah. Hey guys, if you are listening on Spotify, don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the Q&A function on Spotify.
But sort of, it was like, yep, cool, we'll do it. And it's been a big transition, especially still having mates working full-time, real jobs and all that sort of thing.
Stay-at-home dad's a real job, for the record.
Yeah, it definitely keeps me busy.
Same as a stay-at-home mum. Anyone, I just spent a week with my nephew at my sister's helping her out because he was a week out of daycare. And I'm like, I feel like a full-time working mum. Because I was still running my businesses and helping her out. She was working. So, full credit to anyone that is a stay-at-home parent.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely, I've loved it. I've definitely loved it. I think early on, especially coming from a really structured job as a teacher where you know, the bell rings and you go here and you naturally get hungry at 10:45 and 1:15 because that's when you eat. Yeah. So, like having a lot of structure to then like now, like I'll still have days, even now after a year and a half of doing it because, Ollie's still in kinder. Hudson's, you know, in childcare as well because we, you know, everyone's different with that. But for them to be able to be with other kids and other people and learning and all that sort of stuff. And I've always said it from when Ollie was first born, like to be a full-time stay-at-home every day of the week, I would really struggle with that. Yeah. So having the balance, and for us when we bought the house then was like, for me to be able to renovate and like save money on trades and all that sort of thing. And social media's built up as well, so I'm not doing nothing the days they're not home. But it's definitely something that I have nutted out myself and how I work, and I'm still sort of doing that, and how I structure my days and all that sort of thing. And I know I need to get out and do something early in the day, because if I just stay inside and do a few bits and pieces and some stuff on the laptop and whatever, I get to the end of those days, I'm like, I did nothing today. I did. But yeah, so not having structure has been a thing for me. But I do definitely feel very fortunate to have been able to do what I'm doing. And that's where I slowly have to probably adjust my content in a way as well, because it's not that relatable. It's very clear to anyone who goes on my profile that we have a big property and I get to stay home and do lots of projects, which a lot of people would kill for, and extra time with my kids and all that sort of stuff. So I've probably pulled back on posting exactly what I do most days, because I don't want to be like, fuck this guy, sort of thing. So I try to, stay in touch with that a bit. But it's definitely a very fortunate role to play.
Yeah. No, I love that. I think what's one thing that you think that you, again, same question that I asked you around getting onto social media, but what is one thing that you wish you knew before being like, I'll be a stay-at-home dad? Or was there a misconception around being a stay-at-home dad that you had?
I think probably the main thing is about structure. Like, I know I work really, really well with routines, and our kids have the same bedtime routine every night, and it works really well for us because most of the time they're asleep by 7:30, and that gives us our couple of hours to be able to have our own time, spend time together, whatever. So that's just how I function. I know I've always been a routine, structured person. So to try and have a bit of a structure around my day to, get the boys out by a certain time, to get home to do X amount of, or, get home and straight away just achieve something outside to get out and not just be bogged down inside. But it is hard when, right now, I'm doing a lot of work on digital stuff to launch for the start of spring, and things just aren't growing outside and whatever. So I am sort of brought back a little bit more inside. So just getting outside and doing things is important in my days, which is where being a PE teacher worked really well, because I was outside and active a lot more. So I think just understanding myself probably, and the best ways that I work to get to the end of a day and be like, all right, I got stuff done today. Because every day I'm productive. I don't sit around. I have my times, obviously, where I'll be like, shit, I've just spent the last half an hour scrolling through absolute dog shit content. And I'm annoyed at myself now. But I'll get to the end of days and I'm like, I did do a lot today, but I feel like I did nothing. And so I'm frustrated and I feel like I had a bad day, even though it's a day that lots of other people would have loved to have had at home to do what they wanted to do. So,
a little bit of perspective goes a long way, I think, with that. Now, before we go to the final questions, I think one of the biggest misconceptions around sharing a lot of your life, and it's something that Kate and I have spoken about offline, is one of the biggest misconceptions that people have when you do share on social media is that you share everything and that you share your whole life, and that nothing's a secret, nothing's private, which couldn't be further from the truth. Is there one thing that people don't know about you that you wish they did?
Well, I haven't had the opportunity to brag about it, but I actually tied the goal kicking award for the league last year. And I just haven't had a chance to post that. That would have been cool to share.
It would have been cool to share.
If I hadn't played the last 2 games of the seniors, I would have won. So no one knows that really.
That's a fun fact. You heard it here first. But, exclusive.
I'm 6th this year, so had a broken arm. So
that's okay.
We'll use that as an excuse.
Yeah, fair.
No, I think something I've definitely done a lot more is shared less of the kids. And it was probably only 2 months ago or so that I was like, wow, I've really not posted them very much at all. As my following's gotten bigger and bigger, that it's been subconscious that I've not put anywhere near as much of them on there. Even though probably it's more so maybe Instagram stories, which the people who watch my Instagram stories are the people that they're the good people. They're the supportive ones. They're the friendly ones. They're the ones who are, there's no hate in the Instagram stories. But still just even sometimes in reels and things like that, just especially getting to Ollie going to school next year. No doubt that's going to be something as he gets a bit older, 7, 8, 9. That's, just social media in general, their friends and their friends' parents and things like that, and then them getting it themselves, which is terrifying, thinking about them having social media in any case. But so just sharing less of them and, them getting more so to a point like some people hide their newborns' faces, and I'm
Yeah.
like, they're a blob. They're going to look completely different every month.
Sure.
But especially as they become, bigger and going to school, and I think like that's something that Kate and I really will need to talk about in the coming months, and probably not ever showing their school uniforms and things like that, you know.
Yeah.
Because she'll get recognised places.
Yeah.
So it's like something to keep personal. There's
Yeah.
definitely certain things to not put out there.
Totally.
Like to anyone who posts content of their kids, like parenting content, whether it's parenting advice or they just show a lot of their kids, like full like respect for having that courage. Like I watch a lot of parenting content of, you know, how to deal with different things and get really good ideas. Like, Kate and I have great chats. Like, I saw this thing today about how to say this or how not to say this. And it makes sense, doesn't it? Like, and we've implemented a lot of stuff from social media.
Yeah.
But for the people, you know, I'm happy to post something about the way I screwed some timber together and get told I was wrong and that was stupid, whatever. But if it's about the way I was raising my kids or what I'm doing, nah. Like full respect to those people, that's where I would be checking out as a creator for sure.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And I think it's each their own, right? Like I think, there's obviously been a thought process that's gone through that. I think, I mean, I don't have kids, but I'm always very conscious, like with my nephew even, like asking my sister if she's okay if I post a picture to my story or whatever. And he gets the most love out of anyone. Like he gets more likes than any picture I'll ever put up or anything like that. But I'm always very, very conscious, even with friends' kids, of like, is this okay? Is it not? And everyone has their own way of doing it, right? So I think it's just about leaning into that.
Yeah, that's it. It's got to be what you're comfortable with. But I think, especially like I said before, the older they get and the more they come to being able to have their own probably presence online and stuff as well, where old videos that are out there and that kind of thing from when they were little and they said this or did this and everything, that's just, you know, for me personally, because I wouldn't be able to handle it if there was negativity towards it.
Of course. You have a little family of content creators, I'm sure.
Well, maybe. Maybe.
On that note, we'll finish with the final 3 questions, which I ask everybody that comes and sits with me. They're quick fire. They don't need to be answered quickly, but we just like to have everyone answer them. The first one is, what is one brand that comes top of mind for you?
I thought about this. Ryanair is one.
Ryanair.
Yeah.
Why?
So I listened to a podcast with, he was like their former social media marketing something. And essentially what he did was built a whole brand around, like social media presence for them around, you paid £10 for the flight, like what did you expect? So these people, previously it was like people would come online and be like, Ryanair, my seat and all this or that. And it would just be people piling on in the comments and it was like, you know, Ryanair's cheap and they suck. And then, but they built this whole thing around exactly what I like before. You paid £10, what do you expect? And poked fun and did things. And like when stuff happened with the royal family and they'd like make jokes and it was like this whole thing, they built this thing where people were then super engaged fans of an airline and they would get, you know, millions of views and all this stuff. And I'm like, that is amazing. Yeah. Because people would look at that and be like, they would just want to go and get on a Ryanair flight instead of a British Airways or whatever. Just to see if they get the creaky, crappy seat and to, you know, post it and maybe get reshared and it's all, you know, building that. For me, when I built my outdoor entertaining area, I was using a lot of Ryobi tools. So cheaper DIY brand. I've had my drills for like 6 or 7 years, dropped them heaps of times. They're still going strong. Yeah. But, you know, different videos that I posted throughout all this process, some of them that did well, you know, they're tool supremacist tradies who come in and are like comments about the green tools and, you know, blah, 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 I can tell you're a novice and all this sort of thing. So I made this video where like camera's on me and I've come in, I'm like, oh no, I can't believe it. Been getting all these comments about using Ryobi tools and blah, blah, blah. And I've just come in today. I, you know, don't know what's happened, whether everything just disintegrated or I found out it was built with Ryobi and left, but look what's happened. And I panned and it was just a before shot of the blank concrete. And people were like jumped on and found it funny, which is nice. But imagine if Ryobi really lent into that. Yeah. That idea of like another failed Ryobi project with cheap tools and it's like a project that's just fine. Yeah. Or even just like a split screen of like tape over the top of it, fancy brand, get someone cut through some timber, drill some timber. And it's just like you get to the end and it's like, which was built with what? Like it's all tools. It's all, you know, built for different purposes. But just imagine if they really lent into that, being more of that DIY brand and instead of just being like, right, here's our new lawnmower. Here's our new drill. Here's a photo of it with a fancy like edit and here we are. Imagine if they went down that path. People that love Ryobi would just love it even more. It'd be funny. It'd be shareable. And it would be, engaging instead of
Have you worked with Ryobi?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
You created some funny content for them?
More like educational.
Okay.
Yeah. I had one that wasn't sponsored that got like 1 million views. I'm like, hey, can we backdate that?
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I've got heaps of Ryobi tools in my shed from before I even started social media that I'm still using on projects now. So, you know, when they first approached me, I was like, awesome. Of course. I've got heaps of Ryobi stuff.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Absolutely.
So, you know, maybe if there's a potential to make that sort of, it's a bit, you know, more out there. If I was to go to them and be like, here's the idea, like this tool sucks. Look how bad it is. Look how it did such a bad, you know, I just don't know if they'd maybe get through the screening process.
Well, I mean, it's a conversation that I literally just had with Dalton in the episode earlier. It was like, I think sometimes some of the best work is unexpected. And I think when people don't expect it from that brand, that's when it lands the most because they're like, oh, this is funny, or, oh, that was like really not what I was expecting from that particular brand. And I was saying there's a very luxury brand called Loewe, and they did an entire campaign around the fact that no one could pronounce their name right. And it's the first time we've ever seen like a premium product or a premium brand building humour into their campaigns and like actually acknowledging the fact that their brand name is hard to get right. And so I think you're so right. Second question then is, what is one thing that you think helps keep a business or a brand top of mind?
I think just consistency, really. If it's posting or it's being on, probably for bigger brands as well, multiple different things. You're on billboards, you're on TV, you're on different things. But for, you know, smaller businesses and whatever, just creating content. And that was probably my thing early on, where I was like, all right, if I am going to make an account, I want to be consistent. I want to post and stick to it I didn't actually set a time frame, but that was my thing of every 3 days. Because, you know, sometimes it's like someone will just disappear for a couple of months and obviously life happens and sometimes that's not how it is. But yeah, I think if you're consistent and you keep posting, you're going to stay in front of people. And especially like for me, I've got things now that I'm, you know, my lawn programs and other things, and who knows what'll progress, especially once the boys go to school and that sort of thing. But, you know, you can't just turn up one day and be like, oh, I want to sell a thing now, or I want to, you know, I want you to watch me now. You sort of do need to be consistent. Yeah,
absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And last question is, what is a quote that is always top of mind for you?
Does it really matter? I think is a good quote, because there's so many things that me personally, and I think a lot of people will relate, if you actually stop to think, does this really matter right now? The answer is probably no. And there's definitely been times for me where all is calm in the household and I'm just answering some comments or some DMs or whatever it may be, and then within 0.1 of a second, if there's, you know, a child that needs me or wants me at my feet, you know, blah, 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 yelling or whatever. And for me to, like, you know, and I'm sure a lot of parents could relate to, where it's like, oh, just hold on a second, because you know you got one more sentence to type before you finish it. But in that moment, you know, especially if they've hurt themselves or whatever, I'd like to say that if they'd hurt themselves and were screaming, but if it's more like, give me attention. If you, in that moment, you know, just hold on a second, you know, just wait. And you finish that message, in that moment, you're prioritizing a stranger on the internet compared to building a relationship with your child. Like, obviously there's a balance of not giving them everything they want every second of every day, but also, you know, giving them that time and attention, because then when they're adults and you want time and attention from them to come and visit, you know, and you've prioritized other things your whole life.
Totally.
And even when it comes to making content, does it really matter if a video you put a lot of effort into gets 15,000 views and then the other one gets 50 or 100 or 1 million? Like, so many of these things, you know, but me personally, I've got caught up on, and I still do. I'm not trying to say this like an expert. Like you still have things from day to day, and it's like, okay, does that thing actually matter? Does it actually make a difference in my life? And I think a lot of the time we find the answer's no. Yeah. So you can just move on to the next thing and prioritize what actually matters.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Could not agree more. Nick, thank you so much for being so valuable or generous with your time and providing so much insight into your world of lawn care, which is so foreign to me. I do not have a lawn. I live in an apartment. But I still love your content and I love watching you kind of grow on the platforms that you're on. So thank you so much for spending time with me today.
I'll get you to grow a desk lawn.
Desk lawn. I love it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Before you go, help us grow and reach more people by hitting the subscribe button and leaving us a review. You can also follow us on Instagram and TikTok at topofmind.pod.